Welcome to the Markets Mindset. Today, I want to explain a concept that most traders never understand until they've wasted a year chasing strategies, indicators, and shiny objects. The truth is simple. One setup can fund your entire year if you treat it like a business, not a hobby. This idea sounds almost unrealistic when you're new. You might be thinking, how can one setup compete with the thousands of patterns in the market? Isn't the market too complex to be simplified down to one repeatable idea? But here's what nobody tells you. Professional success comes from depth, not variety. A trader with one setup they know inside out will outperform the trader with 8 setups they understand at a surface level. Depth scales, variety dictates. Let's break this down in plain English. Why traders fail. Most traders fail because they spend their time collecting knowledge instead of refining knowledge. They watch a new video every week, change their charts every month, and constantly switch tools in hopes of finding the magic combination that suddenly makes everything click. That approach feels productive, but it destroys mastery. If you take 10 different setups in a month, you never build repetition. And without repetition, there is no intuition, no pattern recognition, and no confidence. You end every month unsure about everything. Winners aren't smarter than you. They're simply doing less, better. One setup equals one story. When you focus on one setup, you start to understand the story of the market around it. You don't just see the entry candle, you see what led to it. The early accumulation, the emotional breakouts, the liquidity pools, the timing behavior, the hesitation before reversal, the confirmation candle. You start seeing the same movie play out over and over again, just with different actors. Every day becomes familiar. Every session teaches you something small. And those small lessons compound into an edge that other traders never reach. One setup turns trading from guesswork into pattern recognition. Scaling only happens through mastery. Most traders dream of size, bigger contracts, bigger returns, bigger payouts. But you cannot scale complexity. You can only scale mastery. If you have 5 setups, and you win 3 and lose 2, you don't really know what's happening. Were the losses the fault of the setup? Timing, context, your entry, your psychology. There's no way to isolate the variable. But if you take the same setup 40 to 60 times, suddenly the picture becomes sharp. You know the best conditions, you know the worst conditions. You know when to skip, you know when to size up. You know the timing window, you know the false signals. And that is when scaling becomes professional because the uncertainty has been removed. Trading becomes a business model, not a gamble. Think like a business. Imagine a business owner selling one product. Once they prove it works, they don't suddenly add 20 new products. They optimize the one product, lower costs, improve the margins, and scale distribution. Trading is identical. You don't need 12 setups. You need one setup with high consistency, traded with a clear plan, inside a time window where the market is predictable. That's when you can add size without fear, trade fewer hours, reduce emotional stress, increase performance, not activity. The best traders in the world take very few trades. The idea that more trades equals more money is a beginner mindset. The truth is the opposite. More trades equals more randomness. Professionals are allergic to randomness. Repetition creates confidence. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's built from proof. When you take the same setup again and again, and you journal it, document it, review it, you start to see something powerful. You don't fear the market anymore. You understand it. Fear comes from uncertainty. Confidence comes from repetition. The first 10 trades build knowledge. The next 20 trades build skill. The next 50 trades build intuition. And intuition is what separates amateurs from professionals. You stop chasing signals and start reading the room. The market repeats. Here's the part that beginners don't believe until they see it. The market repeats the same behavior, in the same timing windows, around the same psychological traps, every single day. The instruments change, the levels change, the news changes, but human behavior doesn't change. Fear and greed show up at the same moments. The breakout candle, the stop hunt, the emotional chase, the exhaustion, the return to value. When you understand those emotions, and you build a setup around them, you have a lifetime edge. You don't need 50 patterns. You need one pattern that everyone else steps into by mistake. Your first real edge. Your first real edge isn't the setup itself. Your first real edge is discipline. The discipline too? Skip trades that don't fit your setup. Ignore noise. Avoid random trades. Wait for your timing window. Repeat the same logic daily. That is where the money is. Most traders lose money because they can't do something that looks boring. Repeat a simple idea until they become good at it. Knowledge is cheap. Execution is expensive. Repetition is priceless. The turning point. There's a moment every real trader hits, where it clicks, and it usually comes from a boring truth. You don't need to do more. You need to do one thing well. More times, once you accept that, everything changes. Your charts simplify, your stress disappears, your confidence grows, your journaling becomes meaningful, your entries become clean, your exits become calm, your sizing increases naturally, and suddenly, the setup you've repeated 100 times becomes the setup that funds your year. Not because every trade wins, but because you finally have data, discipline, and confidence. That combination is rare, and it's why most traders never get there. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.